Hello and welcome back to another Space Engineers Showcase video. In today's video, we're looking at another large ship, but first we're just going to peer over to here at the item of my previous video, the Stag Crusader, just to let you know that if you are interested, the front plate right here, this black plate, has been fixed since I did the video, so it no longer wobbles around a bit, and I simply presumed it was something to do with the hinge. Perhaps when the blueprint was made, it was just at a wonky angle, and then just got angry whenever anyone pasted it in. But yes, it's all fixed and ready to go. But back over to this is what we're looking at today, the Torden Class Frigate, or the Saturn Federation as it's called. A lovely big black, blue and white ship that features a nice lot of guns on here, a small hangar for a singular fighter to escort you on your adventure, and a fairly big interior for you to live your life in. Pressing F10 and finding it in the spawn menu, the Torden, we can find it right here, is 3,582 large blocks using the decorative blocks number 2, the heavy industry and frostbite DLC packs. It features no mods, but it does have a script on here which is with salvo script for the rocket launchers to fire on a pattern rather than all at once. So we can see here a nice bit of information about this ship with all its weapons and what you can do with it. So we'll give it a thumbs up, move all the way around to what I think is the very front, then we'll go around the outside, we'll have a tour of the interior and see what it has to offer. So at the very front here, this is what we get. We can see on the left and right hand side behind these window blocks, we've got some spotlights to light up the darkness. Just below that onto these black steel blocks, we then got some antennas sticking out the front to make sure you can always find this thing, and ore detectors so you can use this to go around asteroids and see if there's any ore patches that you can go off and mine. Perhaps you even want to take a mining ship with this in the hangar. Could be very useful. Yes, we've got another spotlight right below there. And if we were to start to move around the side, this is what we get. So we can see our rocket launchers on the side there, and there's another 2 on this side, so we can do a nice lot of damage to whatever we're coming up against. Along the side there, we can see our white and blue blocks along the top, some lovely blackish dark grey blocks, making up the main body of this ship. There's a couple of turrets along the side there, so we've got a Gatling turret and a rocket turret, and another Gatling turret just positioned slightly higher to make sure it's not obstructed by the 2 turrets in the front. If you were to continue around the side a little bit more, this is our little hangar bay, where we can take a fighter or even a small miner, depending on what you want. It's completely open, there's no doorways opening and closing, so you will need to make sure that the ship is pretty armoured in case any kind of stray shots come inside. But if any ship does dare come close to you, they are going to get pummeled by all the turrets on the outside of this thing. But yes, on the inside, we've got a connector at the top there to dock anything up, a doorway to get inside the ship, and this is all the other stuff we get inside here. If we continue around towards the very back here, there is some hydrogen thrusters to push this thing around. Then at the very back, this is what we get. So we got 4 large hydrogen thrusters, so we should get some great speed out of this. And we've got some nice use of our window blocks acting as decorative pieces, just hiding the thrusters up and giving them a bit extra cover at the back there. So this is how it's all been done. It works very, very well. If you were to come all the way up and above this thing and looking down, I'll put my light on for the moment, you can then see the white and blue and black blocks. We can see our turrets along the side. A couple more hydrogen thrusters to help push us down. Then moving towards the front there, some more hydrogen thrusters, and there I am standing at the very front. If you were to come all the way down and underneath past our antennas and ore detector, this is what we get. Some fantastic block work just along the bottom there. Make sure it's not a completely flat surface and to give it that great shape. And along the bottom there, we've got some interior lights just to light it up. We've got these little thruster pods right here. We've got some hydrogen thrusters with some passages in front of them. And all the way over to here, towards the very back, we then got this section right here. We've got a bunch of batteries behind some armoured plates. And we come all the way up to here, we get a better look in the middle. So we've got some cylinder blocks right there. There are our batteries. And then we've got some beam blocks at the back here. So there we are with that. It's just a novel way of storing your batteries, just right at the bottom of the ship. Then moving towards the very back there, there's 2 large hydrogen thrusters, some more interior lights just to light up the bottom. And there's the very back, where all of our thrusters are sitting. So there we go with that. And that is a very brief look around the outside of the Torden Class Frigate. It looks absolutely fantastic with how it's all been set up. And now it's time to grab hold of my character and we'll go inside. So coming over to here, we need to find our hangar bay, which is at the very side towards the back of the ship. We can now come all the way down to here and land ourselves down. There is a gravity generator, so there's no worry about just floating off into the distance. And yes, this is what we get. There is our connector. There's some lights to make sure it's not very dark. We can walk up this if we want to, or we can use this ladder depending on preference. We just come up to here, we'll bounce a little bit, and there we go. Had to use my jetpack because you didn't want to get over that lip. But we can open up this doorway, a double door for an airlock, and this is the first room we get. A bunch of gyroscopes just line up this wall, and then behind us we've got an air vent to make sure we don't suffocate. We've got a hydrogen tank on the floor with another gyroscope, some O2 H2 generators along the wall. Looking up there, even more hydrogen tanks. And then we can come across over to this section where we've got a connector going over to that air vent and going straight down into the floor. If you were to open up this and continue along through the ship here, this is the next room. We've got a bunch of cryopods on this side, some cargo containers in the floor for some easy access, and on the opposite side we've got ourselves a nice neat air vent just tucked to the wall. If we were to come through this doorway, now we are at the very front of the ship, where as you probably noticed there is absolutely no windows, so we'll have to rely on the third person camera to get a good view all the way around us. But this is what we get. We've got some gyroscopes inside here in case we want to manually control them. There is our gravity generator, a jukebox where we do have controls from our seat, so we can get some tunes while driving this thing around. We can see some oxygen tanks on the wall, a air vent right next to the seat, and around to here we've got a cargo container for a quick access. On the opposite side we then got our programmable block with our salvo script, which has an updated UI where we can see what it does. To the side of that we then got another gyroscope, and then around to here another cargo access, and a battery with an LCD screen telling us the weather. If you were to hop into the seat in first person view, this is all we get. So yes, it's a very limiting view, but coming over to tab number 1, coming into third person view, these are the controls we get. So number 1 is going to be to fire our rockets at the front there using the salvo script, and that's how they fire on the little pattern rather than all at once. Number 2, 3, 4 and 5 is for our turrets all the way around the ship. Number 2 and number 4 is to simply switch off our turrets. Number 3 and number 5 are different controls. So we can press number 3, which is going to turn our Gatling turrets to target missiles on and off, and number 5 is going to be to target small ships on and off with our rockets. Number 6 is for our antennas on and off at the front there. Number 7 is for our jump drive, where we can jump 1,134.99 kilometers, which is fairly decent for a larger ship. Then number 8 is for our spotlights at the front there on and off, there we go, all together. And number 9 is for our interior lights around the ship, so we can come down to here and switch them on and off, there we go. You don't actually realise how many lights are around the ship until you do turn them off, so there's quite a lot of glow. So we'll just come around to here, we'll make it nice and dark, then we'll go and switch them off once again. There you go. Then coming over to tab number 2, this is for our jukebox, where we can press number 7 to turn it on and off. Number 1 and number 2 is going to be to change the track, and number 4 and number 5 is to change the range of the jukebox. So now we can drive this thing around, and well, you can't hear it in third person, but you can in first person. So there you go. If you want to listen to that while driving the ship around, you can do. On tab number 3, 4 and 5 we got nothing else, so it's time to drive this thing around. So moving forwards, this is what we get. We take roughly 7 seconds to reach maximum speed thanks to those large hydrogen thrusters at the back there. Coming to a stop is a different story where it will take roughly 26 seconds to reach maximum speed reversing, or to come to a stop. Moving left and right is the complete oddball out of everything, where it takes roughly 51 seconds to reach maximum speed, but it's not too much of a problem as we're generally going to be using mouse control to turn this thing around. Moving all the way up is going to take roughly 10 seconds, and then moving all the way down is going to take roughly 26 seconds, so it's fairly equal around the ship, apart from moving left and right. And as for mouse control, this is what we get. We are very heavy, but it's to be expected from this type of ship. We do have a nice lot of control, however, which is quite nice to see, so we can do a bit of tight maneuvering in case you get into an emergency and want to, say, dodge through an asteroid, but you have to be very careful. Yes, as for that, that is pretty much it for the Torden Class Frigate, the Saturn Federation. There'll be a link to it in the description below if you do wish to download it and play around for it yourself. I highly recommend you do. So now what we're going to do is just find that asteroid all the way up to here, and now we're going to charge towards it, and that'll be that for this little ship. And there we go, that was actually a rather odd crash. Where am I? I appear to be in the asteroid. So now I need to somehow get out of here. I can see the exit right there. But that was quite a slow crash, or at least it felt slow. Well, we saw destroyed the entire front. There we go. There's the hangar, so we did take a massive chunk out of it. But anyway, thank you all for watching, and I'll be back with another video some point soon. Bye bye.